Since the beginning of history, Atlantis has haunted the imagination of humankind. Was it a city built by gods? Or a civilization that flew too close to the sun? Today we stand on the threshold of answering a question that has slept beneath the tides for millennia. This journey is not a hunt for gold or power. It is a search for truth. As we step aboard this vessel of steel and dreams, the ocean waits for us with silent patience, ready to test our courage and our humility. The gear is loaded, the systems checked, every last piece of technology tuned to face a darkness no human eye has seen and returned to tell. We descend through the blue void, the walls of our ship humming with the pressure of a world that is not ours. Sonar pulses reach out, touching shapes in the deep. Shapes that twist reason and rewrite maps, revealing patterns too perfect to be nature's random hand. Could these structures be the bones of a forgotten empire? Could they be the warnings of a tragedy repeated through the ages? In these shadows, questions multiply. Was Atlantis truly lost? Or was it hidden on purpose? What did its people fear so greatly that they buried their world beneath the waves? And if we uncover their secrets, do we have the wisdom to honor them? Or will we repeat the same fatal arrogance? The crew's voices grow quiet as the ship sinks deeper, crossing invisible lines drawn by legend. It feels as though we enter a cathedral of the sea, where every bubble of air is a prayer, and every echo a challenge. I wonder, who am I to think I can name this place? To stand on its streets and tell its story once more? Atlantis is not only a city, it is a mirror. And that mirror may show us truths about our own civilization. Truths we are afraid to see. There is a gravity here that words cannot measure, an ancient presence that seems to weigh our very souls. The ocean has hidden Atlantis for thousands of years. It has guarded its silence longer than any empire ever ruled. Now it tests us. Are we worthy to witness what it has preserved? This dive is not just a mission, it is a reckoning, a question that has waited across centuries and now waits for us. If Atlantis has survived the ages, will we survive its answers? We have crossed the last light of the known ocean and stepped into a darkness where only echoes live. The sonar pulses return shapes too precise, too perfect, to be explained by chance. These towers, these roads, these rings, they belong to no natural hand. Atlantis, once a whisper on parchment, now rises from the depths, like a truth that has waited patiently. Here, in the black silence, the mind begins to tremble. What story is told in these stones? What voices still sleep within these courtyards, where no sunlight has walked for 1,000 generations? We see arches too tall for any modern builder, symmetry beyond what even nature could dream, and our hearts ask, if this was truly Atlantis, how much of what we know is a lie? As we drift deeper, the currents feel colder, older, as though time itself guards this place. Atlantis does not seem ruined, it seems preserved, as if the sea loved it too much to let it die. But is that mercy or a warning? The crew is quiet, eyes fixed on the holographic images blooming before them. A silent cathedral of shapes so familiar, and yet impossibly distant. I wonder, what did the people of Atlantis fear so much that they chose the ocean to hide them? Or perhaps they hoped one day someone would come not to plunder their city, but to listen. Every dive is a conversation, and this dive is the hardest question ever asked of human courage. Atlantis is not offering us power. It is asking us, are you ready to hear our story without trying to rewrite it? Are you ready to be changed by what you see, even if it challenges everything you believe? I feel a weight that has nothing to do with gravity pressing against my chest. If this is truly Atlantis, then our species has been looking in the wrong direction for centuries, searching for triumph when it should have searched for wisdom. Down here, in this cathedral of forgotten dreams, I realize Atlantis is no prize. It is a mirror. And as we cross its thresholds, we must remember the ocean gave us this glimpse, not to conquer, but to remind us that some truths are bigger than any empire, any map, or any name. In the depths where no light dares to travel, we come face to face with the impossible. The city they called Atlantis is no longer just rumor, no longer just a name carried on the waves of myth. Here, walls stand that should have crumbled, columns still rise that should have been erased by centuries of storms. And the more we see, the more we realize that Atlantis was not a story of defeat. It was a story of survival. These structures, these roads, these patterns, far too precise for nature alone, whisper of a people who knew the ocean, who trusted it to guard their greatest truth. Were they running from an enemy or from themselves? And if so, is the ocean their sanctuary or their prison? Sonar pulses cut through the dark, revealing halls lined with arches, plazas crowned with geometric grace, avenues too grand to belong to any forgotten empire. Each echo returns with a challenge. Will we have the humility to look? Or will we see only what we wish to find? Atlantis feels alive. It feels like a witness, not a ruin. It measures us with silent patience, asking whether we have the courage to hear its final testament. For if this place truly survived the ocean, then it survived human pride too. The pride that has built and destroyed so many worlds above the waves. As our ship moves deeper, something shifts in the silence. We no longer hunt for treasure. We seek understanding. And Atlantis seems to offer us a mirror, polished by the tides, showing us what we could become if our own arrogance is left unchecked. Down here, past the last known maps, history is written in walls of stone, in cities cradled by coral, in quiet that no empire can erase. Atlantis does not ask for worship, it asks for remembrance. I stand on this threshold, knowing I am smaller than every answer I hoped to bring home. Atlantis is not a reward, it is a question. And now, in the calm of this hidden cathedral, the sea seems to ask if we are ready to listen. Truly listen, before we dare to speak of what we have found.
We have come further than any map has dared to draw. Here, beyond the last known currents, Atlantis reveals itself with a silence more powerful than any legend. These halls stand as if time itself could not bear to destroy them. Columns still hold the weight of dreams long lost. Bridges still connect spaces, where voices may once have spoken of wonder and fear. Every line of stone, every coral-covered staircase, seems to carry a message. We endured. Atlantis did not simply collapse. It was carried by the ocean's embrace, kept safe where no ambition could claim it.
And now, as our lights trace symbols forgotten by centuries, I feel a question that shakes me more deeply than any fear of drowning. Who are we to name this place? We've scanned, measured, recorded, yet no sonar, no coordinates, no camera can capture the feeling in this water, the sense that someone built this not for pride, but for hope. Perhaps they hoped someone would find it, not to own, but to learn. In the echoes of sonar pulses rolling through these towers, I hear no triumph. I hear a warning. Atlantis does not belong to conquerors. It belongs to those willing to carry its truth gently. That truth is not a reward. It is a burden, offered only to those who will guard it. The crew is silent. Our ship hums with life. But around us, the sea feels almost alive, as if it listens, as if it waits. We cross arches that survived centuries of storms. We breathe air filtered through steel. Yet we sense the weight of stories older than language. Atlantis is not here to grant us glory. It stands to remind us what happens when glory becomes obsession. When knowledge loses humility. When pride builds walls too high to climb down from. The sea claimed Atlantis not to punish it, but perhaps to protect it, to hide a mirror from a world not yet ready to see itself. As I stand here, between the future and the myth, I know this: Atlantis is not a secret to reveal. It is a question to keep asking, again and again, until we earn the right to understand.
As we stand here, closer to the heart of Atlantis than any human before us, a question rises that no sonar or scan can answer. Should we reveal this place to the world or protect it from the world? Atlantis has survived storms, centuries, and the weight of its own legend. It has rested in the arms of the ocean, shielded from every ambition and every conquest, preserved not by stone alone, but by the patience of time. These towers, these bridges, these halls still whisper of a people who dared to build beyond themselves. They remind us that knowledge must serve humility, and that pride left unchecked will collapse even the grandest dreams. We see its spiral avenues crowned with coral, its amphitheaters quiet as a temple, its statues no longer seeking glory. Atlantis feels alive, as if it holds a heartbeat, waiting to test ours. And that test is not about courage or bravery or triumph. It is about respect. Atlantis challenges us to carry its story with gentle hands. It demands we become its guardians, not its owners. For if we tear it from the ocean, parade it in front of hungry eyes, we will destroy the very soul that made it survive. The sea gave Atlantis a chance to rest, to wait for a time when humanity might be ready, not to exploit it, but to understand it. Now that time has come, and we must choose, as explorers, as witnesses, as humans. Will we be worthy of the lesson? Atlantis is more than a ruin. It is a mirror. And when we gaze into its silent arches, we see not only what they built, but what we still might build if we learn from their mistakes. We can measure every stair, scan every stone, but no machine can capture what Atlantis truly is. It is hope, lost and found, broken and mended, reaching through centuries to remind us that greatness requires compassion and that legacy should never be owned. As we prepare to leave, we do so with a truth that weighs heavier than any artifact. Atlantis will remain where it belongs, safe in the sea's embrace, alive in the hearts of those willing to remember it.